Welcome to another moderately voiced episode of the F Movie Gamecast. Actually, this is both a movie and a gamecast. This is a movie featuring a small gamecast on this one. We're your host today. I'm Dylan. This is Bryce.
Right here.
Yep. Now, if this uploads out of order, and it won't, because Nathan won't upload it. Period.
It's only going to come to Spotify, I'm sure.
Yeah, it might sneak on the Spotify. What you may know is that the F Movie Podcast is temporarily, maybe foreverly, retired. The movies have been retired for the moment. We are just playing board games on the side.
Yep,
Nathan looks like a younger man. I'll tell you.
Yeah, after all that editing and all that effort,
all the cutting the front and the back off of video clips and uploading it. To be fair, he has done
trimmer.
Excellent work on thumbnails, though.
Yes, thumbnails are always on point.
He has always done an excellent work on thumbnails.
He'll make a great one for this, I'm sure.
Anime
reviews typically are one of our higher viewed things on the channel, actually, and it feels good for me to actually be doing a movie review again.
I know.
I mean, I've been bugging you to do one for a while, so this coming out kind of hit the bill because we didn't feel too passionately about seeing Infinity Castle Part 1 together.
Every day that passes by, I think I like it less.
I totally agree. I keep thinking back. I'm like, there's some cool moments, and the sound effects were really cool. Yeah. But everything else, like, I just remember being long. I just remember being so long.
You ever just not want to watch a whole anime over, and you just go look up the fight on like YouTube?
Demon Slayer is the epitome of that for me. I think the manga keeps it chugging along pretty well. I think the pacing's pretty good, but in the show it feels like it's pulling teeth. Like, I rewatched season 1 like last year with some friends of mine, and it was pulling teeth.
Yeah. No, I watched it with Mark, and I felt like I was like, we shouldn't watch this, but we're already this deep in. So
yeah, and you don't really have a choice. But as you would normally say when we're opening our podcast, we're not here to talk about the Demon Slayer movie. We're here to talk about Chainsaw Man the movie, the Reze arc. Reze. Yeah, you're right. I had to think about it for a second.
Yeah, although true English fans have always just called her Rez. So.
I won't go that far.
Reese's. So anyways, welcome to the Bomb Girl, Best Girl, ? Exclamation point, yes. Episode on this one. So let me spoil everything for you guys. Spoiler, this movie.
This is going to be spoilers. Yeah, we always do.
Yeah. I think this one kind of serves itself a little chronologically, though, because I think, like, the movie is not secret about, I mean, again, the movie headlines was saying, like, hey, this is going to be the antagonist of the movie. Like,
the Bomb Devil, but you don't know who the Bomb Devil is.
Right. So
you know the Bomb Devil is going to be there, but you don't know who it's going to be. I mean, if you have 2 brain cells and have seen a movie before, you probably know who it's going to be.
Yeah. I don't think
you don't know.
Yeah, for those of your watchers who have probably already watched it, and talking to you, Big Chris, and
Big
or
Chris.
Yeah, like, this isn't gonna be subtle. Spoiler: it's gonna be Reze that's actually the villain on this one. And now that we got that spoiler out of the way, I'll talk about the first half of the film. So, first half of the film has been the first new Chainsaw Man we've gotten in like a couple of years, and I know we watched it together. Your wife Kelly was there, my wife Mark was there, and
absolute wife goals. I was so proud of her.
Yeah, she hung it out, man. And it had been the first time we've seen Chainsaw Man in a minute, and I'm like having to catch Mark up because his memory not so good.
In the theater, like, you were giving your friend the tips, and I was giving my friend like the catch up to get us there.
He was like, "Wait, is this the one with that?" I'm like, "No, that's." And then it was a different anime entirely, and I was like, "This is the one with like Naruto, Sasuke, and Sakura, but really fucked up and really horny." And he's like, "Oh no, I'm there." Yeah, like, yeah.
And then I'm like, Chainsaw Man is like my favorite manga, and it's like, I can't argue with that comparison.
It is spot on. The models look uncomfortably close to each other too. But anyways, we hop back into the show. We get a little bit of Sasuke, a little bit of Power. Power is, I think, more interesting than Sakura.
We're in the movie. We're in the Chainsaw Man movie.
We're in the movie proper.
The show. Yes.
Yeah. So this is the first time we've been back since the show season wrapped up, like, 17 years ago, it feels like.
2 years.
It's been a long 2 years. And it was nice to just be kind of back in it. It was nice to see the trotting humor. It didn't go as it was horny, but it wasn't as horny as we remember. It wasn't as excessive. I mean, at one part it kind of is, but it earns it. But early on, what I really liked about getting back into it was we get Makima again, and I'm like, oh yeah, her. I can't say anything about that, but
Yeah, let's
like,
not do future
let's
spoilers.
not do any future spoilers. I was just like, yeah, I keep forgetting about all the stuff that hasn't happened yet in this series by now.
I know it's hard
Um,
to like keep things straight because
yeah,
it's so far the manga's so far past it, but
right.
I do like the opening, like you're saying, to this movie a lot. I mean, it uses the OP for this movie, which is Iris Out, which
Mhm.
I
It's a
love.
banger track.
Oh
Yeah.
my god, such a good song. Which it is unfortunate because they use the track to really introduce the movie and just like kind of get you back like in the tone of Chainsaw Man. Like
Mhm.
Pochita's even dancing in one scene to kind of get you back
Yeah.
in the mood. And it just has them walking around like not doing anything too serious. So I think it's a good song. It was a good OP to get you back into the Chainsaw Man mindset. But
Yeah.
if you've seen the actual video for Iris Out, um, that's on YouTube
I
that
haven't.
Mappa put out, it's so much better. It
Mm.
incorporates a lot of things from the movie, so it makes it a lot more exciting rather than just people just walking around.
Right.
I mean, one of my favorite parts is just the easy was like the song's going, then he goes boom, like they just say the word boom, and it's
Mhm.
the bomb devil saying it. They synchronize that together, so
Right.
it's
Right.
really well put together as compared to this one in the movie.
Which, I mean, I get they can't be spoiling the movie in the movie. All those.
Huge spoilers. Yeah.
Yeah. Not that Japan's like super behind on that, but as Americans, we mostly don't like that shit. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, it was nice to kind of be back in it and get a little bit of the tone. It was very tonally light, and what I mean is Chainsaw Man can get really dark. Characters will die. It can get really horny. It can get really weird, and it starts very soft within these things. Like it kind of gives us power, just being power, and I'm like, okay, this is pretty standard anime intro. Um, but I think where this arc in specific really shines is when we kind of get slice of life. Honestly, the best, like I would say, the best
Mhm.
genre parts of this whole arc is the slice of life part. And spoiler,
Yeah.
it's raining. Denji's running around thinking about how much he just went on a date with Makima. She just
I like how they did the date too
the date was
with
good.
Makima, how they cut it between Denji not getting what's going on this really
Mhm.
boring date where they're just watching crappy movies, and then
Right.
they finally connect at the end when it's a bad movie, but they both like it and think
Uh-huh.
it's good at the same time. I like
Yeah.
that connection when Denji's like, when he goes, "Why am I crying? Why am I crying at this?" And then he looks over and Makima's just shedding a tear. So
Right.
I really like that it shows that Denji really is looking for an actual connection besides boobs and butt, which
Mhm.
is, I don't know. Like
It's as much as Denji can articulate.
there's the surface level of Denji that's at the surface level where it's just like, yeah, he's id personified. He
Yeah.
wants food, he wants sex, he wants to just indulge in these things that he's
Mhm.
never had his entire life. And then you can look past it if you really want to put your AP literature glasses on and say, well, he's just looking for that kind of connection because he's never had it his whole life. I don't really know where the right middle ground is. I'm not
And
gonna say.
I think to your point, there's not a good one, right? Like, here's what I'll say Chainsaw
Yeah.
Man doesn't do particularly well: moderation. If it's doing a thing, it's going 120, on that thing. If
Mhm.
Denji's horny, he is the horniest dude in the room. If he's sad, he's the saddest dude in the room. And where I think like literate, studied people and people who go into character breakdowns and things like this, this is a tale of two Denjis. You're either getting Denji, who is the pure id, aka just this person seeking pleasures at all time and whatever that means for him. Or you're getting a person who has moments and epiphanies of, I want deeper connection. I want to actually be a part of something. I actually want love. And
Which
they
is
give
where
you,
he goes with Reze, big
yeah,
time. Which
right.
I'm with you. I think it was extremely effective.
Yeah. So I think here it gives you that little bit of like Denji's capable of love. And to be fair, I think that's what the whole Makima date really does really well. It sets up him as seeking as romance as a perspective. Because up until then, like it's really been sex fueled. And it's not that it's not sex fueled still, but it does have this internal narrative in the background that there's more to it than that. And this is where Reze really kind of comes in during the rainstorm, hops into the rain booth. We get introduced to her. She finds him charming and silly and just enamored by all of it. And you're kind of just like, yeah, you know what? I could find this charming too if a guy like barfed up a flower and it's like ta-da, and I'm like, "Whoa, what the fuck?" Like Loki, I'm like, that's a cool trick. You want to be friends? Like, like I kind of get the vibes here on that.
And then she says, as a like, you should come by my work sometime for a
Mhm.
reward when I'm there. It was great meeting you. You should come to my work sometime.
Yeah,
And she goes through the rain back to her job where Dingy's already there,
yeah. He is
just
meeting
sitting
her
there.
there.
And she
Yeah,
goes, "How did you get here quicker than I did?"
right.
He said, "I want that reward."
Yeah. Um, Denji at his core is really a simple man, even at his most complex. And I think that's something that I think more deep, a little too loyal Chainsaw Man fans would sit there and say that Denji is so much more deeper than all this. I'm like, he's not that much deeper, guys. Like,
He's
I've
had a
read
lot.
the manga.
He's had a lot happen to him, but he's
Yeah.
not. I don't think he's like that deep. I think the relationship between him and Pochita, which really gets elaborated on in later arcs
Yes.
with
That's his
something
healthiest
else.
healthiest relationship by far. Like,
Yeah, and Pochita, like
yeah,
it's really cool how they really care for each other. So that
right.
gets a lot of depth. But Digi himself, no, I agree. A lot of interesting things happen around him. I mean, he even says it in this movie. He
Right.
goes, "Why is everyone trying to kill me and get my
Oh, I
heart?"
could be. Yeah. Yeah, and I think that's something that'll tie in here in just a minute. But while we're still talking about how charming Reze is, man, talk about one thing they had to get right for this movie to work. And good job, guys, you did it. Like,
I know you
you
feel
know what?
such like a connection to her in what 45 minutes they give her
I- If
basically.
if that, it's probably a little under, honestly. You just
Yeah,
you you appreciate that you think there's more going on to her, and there is, but you appreciate that it doesn't feel like she's unrelatable or that I remember when I read the manga, there's this always like, does she care for him and doesn't she care for him kind of like in the background question. And that's, I think, a good problem to have. You want to feel uncertain about that. Like, you want to feel like it's believable that she does. And then you also want to think, I don't know, but she's got reasons to not. But during the whole time while she's, engaging in this romance slice of life experience where they're at the restaurant, they're going to fairs, they're going on dates and doing these things. Oh, so charming. You do love a girl. You know what I actually didn't think so much when I read it, but when I came back to it and watched it live, you like a girl that's just kind of like really silly, fun, likes you for you, and is, I mean, Denji's kind of dumb, but like Reze is kind of dumb, and I don't mean that in a bad way. It's like she really matches his vibe in a way that I think is like done really well on the animated side of things.
yeah, yeah. I mean, and it's a really fine line that they're writing too with when you find out the later in the movie who she is, why she was there, all that kind of thing.
Mhm.
You, it'd be really easy for them to really nail the she was sent there to attach herself to him, find him, and get him at his most vulnerable and go for him. But you don't feel that watching it. You feel like there's some kind of connection between those two, which really comes back at the end of the movie in a really great way,
Yeah.
on how they resolve the whole conflict. Because if she was just there to just take advantage of him, the ending does not work at
No.
all. It would feel like a rug pull, doesn't make sense, but they make it feel like a genuine teenage relationship.
Yeah, and I think that the fact that there is a question of like, I think we do like her, that she does like our guy. It comes back to this idea of saying like, okay, I can see why maybe she's in arguments for best girl of the series, right? Like, it,
That
because
people are
it's
still talking about her, still
you
talking
know what?
about her. Like she's
I'm in the
coming.
comments right now. She's gonna be in any chapter now. I promise you. It
Oh my
just makes
god.
sense, Bryce. I mean, they brought back Newt. Why, like
No spoilers, remember?
nobody knows what that means yet. Anyways, so um, So I think that we have, anyways, this really fun dynamic where we're just exploring this girl, and this like her little adventure with her. She's like a little pervy. She's a little this, which is like I think that's
Mhm.
an added factor as well. Like, he's even even then she's like, like making comments about like her perviness and horniness. Somebody's like, "Is that all you think about?" And she's just like, "Haha," and then she kind of like playfully flirts along, and I'm like, I'm not gonna lie, I fold too, Denji. Like, I'm done.
And there's also a moment in this first half that I wanted to talk about too, because it's almost easy to overlook, which was when it's them falling for each other, and then
Mhm.
there's a hard cut, and you go what? And then it goes to this very gross looking bathroom covered
Mhm.
in blood, very like very scary aura it's putting out, and it's some guy talking about to this like typhoon devil you've never heard of, and he's like, I killed a family and I'll do it again if you need me to. And then it cuts again and goes back to the them falling for each other thing, and you're just going, what the hell just happened?
Yeah. Yeah, and then that cuts us to the school, which is I think like probably in my opinion, probably the peak of the movie right before, Bomb Devil fights and stuff, but like I think this is the dramatic peak where obviously the Bomb Devil fight is like the action peak of the film. But the drama of this is, we get um them hopping out, they hop into the school, she's doing these little teaching lessons, she's teaching Denji, at
What's 1 plus 1? Oh,
one.
oh, oh,
Ooh,
me.
me, yeah, and I'm like, finally, a class price can pass. This is truly, this is, what? The
You
people
get
who
that one.
enjoy that scene probably enjoy our podcast. I would put it that way. So
Yeah,
we're the same crowd. The Venn diagram is a circle here.
I love
Um,
that scene.
I do too,
And then
and I
she
think
said she writes butts in English on
yes.
the whiteboard.
Mhm.
And he's just like, I don't know what that says. She goes, it says butt. And he goes, you really are perv, aren't you?
Yeah. I love it. I love it because it has pervy energy, it has silly, flirty energy, it's working for everybody in the room. I think that's, like, such a charm. We get the infamous in the manga swimming pool scene. We hop
That
in, we get
everybody's been waiting for.
yeah, we've been salivating. Give us teenage nudity right now,
And
and,
oh my God, the music during that scene, the
yeah.
piano that's going so hard over it.
Mhm.
Oh my God, just
I think
absolutely
that
took me out.
the piano not as good as JJK's flashback one. There's a piano piece on that
Oh,
one that
in
was
JJK Zero.
yeah, JJK Zero's piano piece. It's I'm always with you or I'm here with you or something like that.
I actually have that downloaded. I was
No,
trying to
it's
see if I
it
could find the
it's
name of it. I know what you're
it's
talking about.
been on
Oh,
my
a
therapy playlist.
record.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's definitely the one. I have that downloaded.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a really good one too.
Beautiful piece.
It's Mappa.
Yeah, I know
It's
it's
the same
Mappa. Yeah.
studio.
They got some piano guys at Mappa, who knew? But
They know how to play the
yeah,
piano.
the piano music on this one I thought was fine. Like I didn't think the music was what accelerated it for me. I think for me it was just the scene itself. I was just like, cool, yeah, visuals did it. They showed as much as the manga would have, and it's not like they animated nipples or anything like that. We get full butt several times. Um
Which is so interesting that
where the lines get
I
drawn
mean,
on
it's
them.
yeah, that's exactly what I was going to say. It's something we could beat into the ground for the longest time, but I mean, it shows the whole boob. You see the boob,
Yeah.
but just
Yeah.
because there's not one smaller circle on the bigger circle, it's like
You know,
whatever.
Japan is really insistent on saying that nipples and penis head and vaginas are the hard cutoff. When we talk about where the line gets drawn, in this case, it is quite literally they did not draw the line on this one. So,
In the
um,
shape of a circle.
yes. So, that scene's like this lovely little like it's for all intents and purposes our sex scene without getting a sex scene.
Hmm.
Um, and then they get back into class. She wanders off because it starts raining, and then cue in the creepy fucking killer guy from a couple of scenes ago. He's in here now, and guess what? He found this character we all just fell in love with. Oh no, more
Because
Denji tragedy.
she wanders off to go to the bathroom while
Yeah,
Dingy's waiting for her to come back.
right. And this whole time Denji's over here thinking about. He's like, I don't know, Pochita. Now I got two people in my heart. And I do love that they flash some of my favorite manga covers from the chapter where they show like Angel in lingerie, and then it's like um,
Oh
Power, and
my!
then it's
Oh,
like for all the
the
women,
Makima and
the Makima and the
Reze,
Reze one. Yeah,
iconic one.
yeah.
Yeah.
I'm surprised that's not more people's tattoos. Like that looks like that piece right there feels like many people's thigh tattoos. A lot of anime girl like ones, the bisexual girls in the community, they have to be eating that one up with us. So
I never
great art
realized
though.
that. I never realized that Makima was thicker than a bowl of oatmeal.
Yeah, I mean, you kind of do and kind of don't. Those the genes aren't helping her, but you know. Anyway, so we get these comparisons while Denji's off in literally like Fapland over here, and then we get on the other side of the school is literally every American school ever, children running for their lives. So
Which it's cool how she's playing that because later you find out just how OP she is and could easily take
oh
this
yeah,
guy on, but it's almost like she's giving him an out, I guess. I don't know if she's like
yeah,
giving him an out or just trying to get to a more secluded place
right. It
to
feels
show
like
who
both.
she is.
I think if he was like, you know what, not worth it, I'm out, I think she'd be like, cool. I think if he
Yeah.
went and killed like if he somehow killed Denji, she would just kill him, and then mission accomplished. And this was
Unless
a good time to
unless she was going for the Typhoon Devil to get their
right,
help
yeah,
because
and
she
maybe
uses them later, but I don't really know if she knew he was affiliated with the
no,
Typhoon Devil at that
I
point.
don't think we get an impression of that until later. But
Yep.
this is probably where we drop the bomb, so to
Mhm.
speak, that Reze, if you have less than two brain cells, here's the connecting thread for you guys, is actually also the bomb devil. Dun,
Which
dun.
dun dun dun. But to get to that point, they go to a fireworks festival together. Um,
Yes. Spoiler, she kills
and
the shit out of that guy, not even as Bomb Devil, just straight up as like a Russian plant. She kills him like
yeah.
Black Widow would kill somebody, like she's singing this like Russian song to him as he chokes to death. And then she's like, Typhoon Devil, you son of a bitch, you owe me one. And he's like, all right, cool. My bad, Bomb Devil. I didn't know this was your scene. Like,
The devil says that, like, I didn't
yeah.
know that you were here. I'm so sorry. And you don't know who she is at this point yet.
No. Yeah. And we go to a fireworks festival. Fitting. We have this quick little montage of them like running around doing things. They're up on this beautiful hill about to see the fireworks. They kiss. It's lovely. She bites his tongue off.
Oh,
I
you didn't
absolutely love a girl that can
you
kill me.
you didn't set it up because I mean, it's you don't like everything's going fine. They kiss, which is seen as
Yeah,
a beautiful moment, and then it cuts to that creepy music, and you're just sitting there going, "What is it? Why is
why
it
is it
getting all
creepy?
creepy?"
Yeah. I'm not always the best at painting the picture of the movie. Sorry, guys. Go watch the movie. Yeah, up until this point, we're still under the illusion of like, oh, they're still on this lovely date. We're having a great time. We get like a couple more minutes. They obviously don't sit with her very long now that they've kind of shown their hand for real.
Hmm.
We get the montage, we get the kiss, and it feels like the end of a slice of life summer arc. We love it. And then he bites his tongue off. And now that Reza's gonna be like,
Hijinks ensue.
hijinks ensue from here. Um, things we haven't mentioned thus far. We've had a couple new hero characters introduced into that. We've had
I was
Angel,
just thinking about that too. Yep.
and we also had your boy, Shark Boy himself, not with
Oh
now
my
without
god.
Lava Girl. Although you could argue Bomb Devil is Lava Girl in some respects.
Because she turns that city into mincemeat.
Yeah. The city often gets leveled in ways that I'm like, there's no way there's still city left. Like,
I mean,
yeah.
that makes me think about JJK, Shibuya arc. How,
Yeah, the literal that whole district is gone. And yet we keep Shibuya arcing. So
yeah. So yeah, I mean, the shark fiend is very, very important. I mean, he gets more lines and more screen time than Aki and Power both do. He's
combined,
very
yeah, it's like
important. We should have mentioned him because he's
yeah,
awesome, and I'm pretty sure he's voiced by Tanjiro
he is.
from Demon Slayer. So that
Yeah.
was pretty cool.
I like him more as a shark demon than I do as Tanjiro. Not surprising.
And it's
So
really cool how they set his character up. Which I mean they do it in the manga too. So, I mean I like him there. I mean I
Right.
whispered to you. The only time I whispered to you during the movie was when Denji rides the shark fiend into
Mm.
battle, and I said like I've been waiting for this to be animated for years,
Yeah.
and it finally happened. But as I was saying, I really like how his character is supposed to be like this crazy person that nobody talks to. Could have been a one note character,
Mhm.
but I mean they give him quite a bit of depth because he. First of all, he calls him Lord Chainsaw, and Makim is like, he doesn't feel this way about anybody else. He
Yeah.
doesn't care about anybody. He's a loose cannon. He likes Chainsaw Man for some reason.
Right.
And throughout the movie, it gets alluded to that he knows something about Chainsaw
Mhm.
Man. He knows something secret, and it never is brought up in this movie. So I don't know. That's just something I have against people who just like don't watch Chainsaw Man because just like it's just
If they
it's
boil it
just a
down to too
boy
simple.
thing, and it's like
Right.
no, like they're like Fujimoto is doing something. Like it's the themes and stuff he is going for is really cool, and he knows how to really develop characters quickly and make them interesting. I mean, when we get to the snowball fight, like
Yeah.
I don't know how I'm gonna keep myself together during that.
That's I think yeah, Fuji definitely showed up really hard and all the way through those chunk of the series here. But
And this arc really shows his power too, because season
yeah.
1 isn't really that great in my opinion. It's
It's
kind
good
of getting you
enough.
into the world. It's good
Yeah.
enough, but
Right.
if I told somebody Chainsaw Man is like my favorite manga, they'd be like
Yeah.
after season 1 go, "Why?"
Yeah,
And
and it's like, yeah,
this movie proves it.
you're like, give it, like, a movie and maybe another season or 2, and you'll probably get there with it, you
Yep.
know?
And
And I
then you'll
still
get
wouldn't
it.
say it's my favorite, but I would definitely rank it a lot higher in, like, I guess the, like, top 5 or 6 batch of, like, really popular animes of this
Mhm.
generation, like Chainsaw Man, JJK, Demon Slayer, all these
Yeah.
ones that get movies for seasons, if it's in that list, Chainsaw Man's probably at least for the next couple arcs, gonna be the number 1 out of this list. JJK
Yeah.
has ebb and flows. I don't know, once we get,
After Shibuya arc,
Hikari
it's not as it is
no,
it's not as smooth as season 1
no.
was.
Although that being said, Kashimo against Hikari, when we get that scene,
You've
I'm
been
like,
talking about that for so long. I'm so
we're so
ticked.
back,
So
boys. When
I'm
that
so
happens,
tired of hearing
it
about Kashimo and how he's actually OP.
it's the
I'm
best
sick
fight
of
in
it.
the series. Every time I think about it, it gets better than even the final fights. So
You
anyways,
and you and me were reading it, and you were like, "This is peak." And I'm like, "I'm
this is
tired of
big.
this.
It was
I'm
big, and
so
it still
tired
is.
of this.
Yeah,
Why is
JJ
he in a train car? Why is he gambling?"
yeah, JJK gets better music though. I will say that. So,
Mm,
uh,
debatable, but we need to actually keep this rolling.
we do. So, anyways, uh, Bomb Devil starts bomb deviling in a really cool way. Rez starts like, we get the great introduction of Bomb Devil. Literally, she pulls her little necklace hand grenade or
Oh
her
my god, that
necklace
you
hand
thought was
grenade.
just a cute goth girl accessory.
Yeah, and it is one of my favorite I won't say like transformations because it's not really like a full transformation, but it's one of my
Hmm.
cool like intros to this character design, right? Like, yeah,
Oh
and
yeah, her
Bomb
design's
Devil
sick.
is just a dope looking character. Yeah, like you still have
Hmm.
that sexy femme fatale look, but now she's just dangerous, competent, exploding monster. Like she's Colonel Mustang from Full Metal Alchemist if they
Oh
demon waifu'd her, and
god,
as
I just can't
deadly.
imagine. I'm just trying to think of something that is better than Mustang when he gets a hold of that one demon. You know,
When he gets a hold of
where
lust, yeah.
oh, I was trying not to spoil it. Damn it.
Spoil if anybody's not listen, if you're watching Chainsaw Man movie, you've probably watched Full Metal Alchemist, and if you haven't, spoilers. The Colonel Mustang versus Lust fight is peak. Um,
So the only reason Denji makes it out of the situation is because the shark fiend comes out of absolute nowhere because he's been
yeah,
watching him, and it's like I knew she smelled funny. I knew something was wrong,
yeah,
and got him out of there. And then it kind of goes down for a second, like the tempo goes down for a second, and it goes to
yeah,
Aki being with another devil hunter group that he's apparently decently close to, and they
yeah.
know him and respect him.
These are my old homies. I was in District, B before I went into District D or District 2 before we get in District 4 or whatever he's on, right?
Yeah.
And he's like training up with them. He's hanging out. Aki has friends. News to us, like he's having himself a good time. But that kind of makes sense. He loses Himeno and I think that there's really this moment where he's like, man, I kind of longing affection now. He doesn't even smoke as much anymore, and like he's like, yeah. So secretly, the movie is like, hey, if you watched the show somewhat recently, you'll remember that this guy kind of went through it as well, and now he's kind
Hmm.
of like trying to look for his reason to connect. And what does Bomb Devil do? Go ahead and fuck that all up
Oh my
because
god, it's
yeah,
so good.
just goes in there, bombs everybody to death, throws her own head in, sick
They
explosions.
because they cut off her head using some kind of OP method, quote unquote, and she's
Yeah,
just like, "All right, I'll cut off my head and use it as a grenade."
literally picks our favorite girl's head gets knocked in and explodes into a thing. And honestly, I've never simultaneously been more upset and more happy at the same time. I'm like, why would you design her? We love her, and now there goes her head. And now it's a grenade. Now that's fucking cool. Okay, fine, we're back, boys. So yeah, I mean, in this part of the chunk of the movie, the tempo races really high up, but it hits. What I will say is I enjoyed the fights overall, but the pacing of this movie goes to 11 and then floats around on there with not much. One of my favorite words, juxtaposition. You know, we're in fight time, and boy howdy is it fight fucking time, and there's a lot of sick
Oh
parts,
my
but there's
god.
some times I wish we could have slowed some pace down a little bit more. Like the
Maybe
two
had Power
paces.
come in to say a little funny goof and gaff.
Yeah, we get a little bit of power, but from this point forward, it's just fucking fights until literally the last 15 minutes of the
And
movie.
explosions and tornadoes. Oh,
Yeah,
God. It's so
typhoons
much
and
fun.
Chainsaw Man, and this is where we're gonna get really bad on the review. Normally, been better with the pacing on it, but this time it's just fucking describing Chainsaw Man riding a shark, and instead of learning to use his powers more effectively, which he does at the very, very end, he
but
just
trying to
uses
keep
it as a leash.
but
So
trying to keep my critic hat kind of on, I will say I loved the pacing on this movie so much more than Infinity Castle Part One. I know you
yeah,
said that like it feels like you wanted some juxtaposition. If the
yeah.
juxtaposition I'm getting has anything to be done in pace similar to Infinity Castle Part One was, no, I don't want that.
No,
I don't want that.
yeah, so this is truly the spectrum here, guys. All right, well, Infinity Castle is one end of the spectrum, and Reze Bomb Double Fight onwards is truly the too much, not enough breathing. I have breathed myself to sleep. I'm snoring. I woke up and the movie's still going. Oh God, like there's moderation. I don't know. Is every anime before 2016 in my opinion. But like as far as these two movies are concerned, yeah, not to parallel them, but that is the tempo of both of them. So I
Yeah,
would rather have Chainsaw Man more than Demon Slayer because Demon Slayer could have did that, and I think we would have knocked out two of the three big demons honestly in that last movie if they just stuck to that, but they didn't.
yeah,
Um, but I will say at a certain point, I'm like, man, you can only see bombs explode so many times before you're like, all right, fuck, man, this fight has to get a little bit more technical and grounded. Like
which
I'm
they
like, I
did. Oh man,
it
there were
finally does.
parts where they
It,
did where that really cool like slow motion part where
yeah,
Reze basically beats Denji and he just
she
somehow
beats him like
gets
three
saved.
times over. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
and he comes back and when they have the one-on-one fight, just the two of them, and they
mhm.
have like that really cool slow motion scene in the building. Like there's a building and
Oh,
she
he's
throws
getting
Denji in it, and
beat his ass through it.
she just wallops him like in slow motion, but it's fast for her. Oh,
Mhm.
I can't wait to watch this movie so many more times just to catch
Yeah,
everything.
there'll be some really cool catches on this one and during the fight because there's so much going on, but there's a lot of a couple of the times where they do give it a little bit of breathing. I wouldn't say it's no breathing, but it's little pockets I wish could have maybe breathed a little bit more. But yeah,
They
some of
are
those slow mo parts kick up. Um, when
one of my
he when
favorite. Go
no, you
ahead.
go ahead. No, you
I
go
was
ahead.
gonna say one of my favorite moments of levity in the entire movie was during the fight with the bomb devil and this plague doctor mask guy comes out of nowhere and
Yeah,
like he pops out of nowhere and gives his all, like gives his big move.
gives this
And
Rock Lee kick onto this
yeah,
thing.
and
Okay.
Bomb Devil gets up and is just like, that was pretty powerful. You must have given it your all. And he gets freaked out and just looks at her and goes, we're outmatched. Run away. and
Yeah,
he and he actually runs away. And Kobani, however you say her
mhm.
name, shows up. It's the only time she ever
Cobain
shows up,
is
and she just
snarling and
starts.
crying.
She's just crying her heart out, and then she's just like, "Okay," and then she just leaves.
Yeah. You know
Oh,
what,
that's another moment
fam?
I can't that's another moment I can't wait for, it is the hamburger restaurant.
Yeah. You know
If
what,
you remember
fam?
that. Oh,
Just watch that scene and keep that in mind with that character in the next 3 or 4 years, because that's gonna circle back, I promise you.
yeah.
I'm not convinced it's not gonna circle back and where the current manga actually is on it, to be totally honest. I'm waiting for it just to pop in and it to be that again, so
I'd be surprised because we are in a crazy place right now.
yeah, we are. But, yeah, so the fight goes on pretty intensely. I think the 2 parts that I like where it slows down that I really enjoy it, um, when she beats Denji probably, like, the 2nd time, and she's just exploding him, and then he's regenerating, and she
Oh,
explodes him, and he
yeah.
regenerates him, like, that part, I was like, "That
Pretty brutal.
is great assertion and brutal, like, breakdown of, like, just how much further like, how much stronger Bomb Devil is on this one." And then I think the other part is, there's moments where they're kinda hinting and teasing and saying, "Denji, you gotta learn how to use your powers more, you gotta learn how to fight, like, you can't just go in there and swing your chainsaws, that's been working so far, but, like, you really do gotta learn how to fight like a devil now," and I'm like, "Yeah, that's right." And then, it's mostly used for comedy at this point, he wrangles up, fucking I'm forgetting his name, what's the shark team?
I don't remember. I just call him Shark Fiend.
Yeah, it's like literally one syllable word too. But anyway, so he grabs up fish and he's like wrangled him and leashed him, and I'm like, all right, that's
Like a
funny.
horse, like threw like a girdle around his mouth.
Yes, he's
It's like,
literally
this
got
is
his
what I meant.
chainsaw like chain around his mouth and is just dragging him across. The fight with Typhoon, I don't know. Typhoon, it's coolish.
It's kind of a nothing burger. It's really, really
Yeah,
cool and makes really good Sakuga, but at the same time, the reason you're liking the Bomb Devil fight so much is because there is a history between them, and
yeah,
you feel a lot more connected to the stakes of what's going on. And Typhoon Devil is just this big baby monster tornado thing.
yeah. And then, I mean, it gives you another Typhoon destroying Japan, so put another one up on the board, guys. But like. Yeah, I guess as Americans, maybe we just don't have the emotional stakes to a typhoon destroying,
That's a great point I
Japan.
didn't think about, Dylan. I love
You
that.
know, the emotional stakes probably do hit a little harder for Japanese audience on that than us, but as far as character development goes, Typhoon Devil is, like, 1.5 notes at best. So,
Yeah.
Typhoon Devil gets Chainsaw Manned just like he did with Infinity, Devil or Eternity Devil or whichever one it was,
Mhm.
in the season 1. And then we get to the actual fight, and then it's Denji getting stomped about 85% of the time, and then he uses all 2 of his brain cells, uses the chainsaws, whip him up, so now he does that quick little matrix dodge move, and this is where the fight actually feels like a technical fight again. And I kinda forgot. I was like, "Shit, this does kinda wrap up the fight." And I kinda hate that because 'cause I'm like, "Man, as much as a one-sided stomp can be really enjoying to watch for a while, I'm like, I do enjoy a technical fight." I do like when characters start to get on to not an even playing field, but an underdog figures out their way to win, right?
Yep.
I think often about the comparison that comes to mind right away is like Hunter x Hunter. I think about how often like Gon in his
Mm.
fights is the underdog coming up, and I'm like, man, like there's so many ways that anime just shines and goes out of its way to make an underdog win. And in this one, it's like, I don't know, there's no reasonable answer he should win here, so we're just gonna sneak it in here at the end. He wraps her up with chainsaws. They get into this big like taco of, and then they go into the
Mhm.
ocean because bombs can't explode in the ocean. Which honestly, I'm surprised they let that land. I won't lie. Like, I'm like, what are torpedoes? Like, think that it's capable. I'm like, as powerful
Yeah.
as Bomb Devil has been shown, I don't think that water should do it, but it does. So,
And they just
and
go
then
underwater,
yep,
forevermore.
this beautiful little romantic, and then we both die, and then they both wash up on the beach. And Denji gave her his genes, right? Like,
Yeah, and was saying how they could run away now because
yeah,
previously, which we didn't say, Reze was like, "Why don't we just run away?" Which is something we should have touched on because that is pretty big. Because
it's a
that
pretty big deal.
again gives that ambiguity that I was complimenting earlier. That
Mhm.
she like possibly does actually love him, and
Yeah,
it really feeds into the very end of the movie. What
yeah.
happens there, which we'll get into in a moment.
So, into the film, semi into the film, they wash up on shore. He's clothed her back up. He's kind of got her back going. And like after he did all this work to kind of beat her and kill her, now she's still here. And literally, shit at any point could just fucking turn the bomb devil and start tearing him up again. I mean, literally, it would take nothing at all. But what
They
the
could
movie
keep
does
fighting.
and what they could, and the movie is just like, nah, I'm good. We ran out of money for the budget. Typical Mappa. We killed 7 animators to get that movie up to this point. We couldn't kill 8. But now that Reze kind of really decides to just be like, hey, and Denji's like, I don't know, man. Maybe we could just run away. And she's like, that's cute. None of this has really been about that. And he's like, okay. Sure. Are you sure though? And then, this is when she should just turn to Bomb Devil and kill him if that were the case, but she doesn't. She walks off and says, okay. And earlier in the movie, she alludes to asking Denji, would you rather be the country mouse or the city mouse? And we see her kind of like walking back into, I think it's her back to her old job, isn't it? Like, or it's her leaving from the train station. That's right. Yeah,
she's running away.
Yeah, she's straight up leaving at this point.
Because remember, she gets to the train, which is huge.
She does the train scene. She goes to the train. She's dressed up. She's ready to hop onto it, and then she doesn't. And now she's running her way back down the alley,
which is repeating so many things. First of all, they reused the same animation from earlier in the movie where it shows after in the first part where they met in the rain and she walks back to the coffee shop, which I like that callback for there. And then it's also in an alley, which is a very big place for Chainsaw Man for symbolic reasons.
Alleys with doors at the end of it is often a bad time for Chainsaw Man characters, and this is one of those bad times. So,
and Pochita even says when he gets to the door, Pochita goes, "Don't open it.
Don't open the door, homie. Just don't. Not worth it, brother. I'm not gonna lie. And not wrong." So we have Reze walking down the alley. Literally looks like she's about to go reconnect up. Hey,
because she sees Denji in the window waiting for her with flowers, which is Denji said, like, if you really want to run away, meet me at your work at noon or whatever. And he's sitting with his back to the glass.
We're so back, boys. We're about to get our slice of life. And then some, city rats come scurrying around, scan your little devils. And what do we get? We get a surprise Makima encounter in the Pokemon theme. The battle music.
Out of the rats.
Yep. Out of the rats. Rat Devil. What the fuck is Makima? Jesus Christ. Fans, let us know what you think she is up until this point if you haven't read the manga.
What do you think she is? Let us know in the comments below.
You know what? Because as a reader, at this point, I'm like, I don't know what the hell she's doing. She is, from what we've seen in the series animated so far, she's got like these heat-seeking missiles that cost people's lives. She's got control of rats that she pops out of. She's like this weird, sexy Pied Piper. Like I don't know what the power is here. But from this mound of rats, she emerges. Reze kind of realizes pretty quickly. She's like, "Oh, I'm cooked." Like, yeah. She starts to go do her whole bomb to devil thing again, and we get the spear of fucking destiny coming down from no less than Angel, who that we have been talking about in the bit in background for it. Yeah, there's a scene where Aki sacrifices more of his life. Less important in the bigger picture. I'm not going to touch on that one, but
I agree.
Spear comes down. We get our best girl impaled on this glowing spear attack, and it just keeps getting brutalized, and then we see her just get consumed with the last thing she looks at is Denji, and just kind of wishing that she was the country mouse yet again.
And we do get a small scene of Kishibe, the mentor guy from season 1.
Oh yeah, Kishibe. Yeah.
Talking to Aki with the voiceover of the wreckage from the Bomb Devil fight, and is like, there was a report that the Russians had a secret program where they kidnapped orphans and tested on them to try to create the perfect weapon, and which is to say that Reze, he does say that Reze was one of those orphans from the Soviets. So it opens up the world a little bit, like not a ton, but it does open up the world to realize like, oh, it's not just Japan. There are other players going
Hear
on.
that, JJK? With the aliens? You're right, it's not just Japan, it's aliens currently. Anyway, spoilers.
Well, shoot, the Calling Game arc has America in it too.
kinda, not really, and then it's gone.
Yeah,
So,
it's so stupid.
what a dumb, strange outro it did. But anyways, not talking about JJK. Yeah, so it opens up the world, and that is actually it's important for the next arc that we're about to go into because it's literally
Mhm.
the international assassins arc on that one. So that's the title. I'm not going to allude to anything on that one. I wonder who they're trying to assassinate. We'll see. But that's kind of our outro on this one. Makima gets more mysterious and maybe more sexy depending on your type of woman. Um,
I fall
you
into the
know,
latter.
yeah. Reze takes the L. Best girl wiped out. She'll be back, right, boys?
No
Right?
comment.
No comment. Um, Anyways, and then that's more or less it. Denji gets more sadness, and then he goes about his day. He's back with the squad. He joins up with Sakura and Sasuke, and Team Seven continues their journey to defend the Hidden Leaf Village yet again, or whatever is happening in the show. We don't really know. I don't know. If their
Whatever,
job is to
Makima.
protect, yeah, if their job is protecting Japan, they're doing a fucking terrible job of it. I mean, like objectively speaking. So
I mean, there's demons that pop out of nowhere that can level the entire city. It's almost like One Punch Man.
yeah, which I got to start watching this new season. I can't wait to see how poorly it's animated. So.
It's worse than you think.
You know what? Based on the comments, I'd be amazed. But
It's not worse than Promised Neverland season 2, but it's up there.
yeah. So, anyways, let's wrap up. We don't have to go fat, thin, perfectly fit. We can just go right to scores. Price, where does Reze arc land for you?
I haven't even thought about scores, funnily enough, with this.
Ooh,
I think I need to
yeah,
rewatch it to really try to get more of a grasp. I feel like I have a good grasp on the first half of the movie, the slice of life, the more easily digestible
yeah,
portion. But
right,
again, talking about that, the last half just feels like a whirlwind. It feels like a typhoon happened because there's so much that happens. I mean,
that,
like I said, we didn't even talk about the Angel Aki portion. There's
yeah,
so much that happens in there, and I think that's good to its credit. I think that means that there's
yeah,
rewatchability to it, and it makes me want to rewatch it more, even though I know what happens. It's a fairly basic plot.
right,
Um, so I think that is to its credit. I mean, obviously, I can't believe how good the production was on it. Everything, the music was awesome.
mhm.
The animation was. I genuinely think it was better than Infinity Castle, in my own opinion. I
Yeah.
thought it was.
I think in places it is, and I think in places it isn't. Like, I think on scope and scale, it way outshines Infinity Castle. Infinity Castle, the only thing that they do well on scale is the castle itself. But like when you get
Yeah,
into
the
the fight,
castle's super cool.
yeah, they're much more condensed. But I will say that when Infinity Castle is doing technical fights and the pacing is on it, it's really good. Like I think Demon 2 is like an example of
Oh
like,
my
man,
god.
the technical
Yeah.
fight, part ones of that fight is like, no, technically it's pretty locked in, and tempo is good there. And I think that the technical one-on-one is maybe lacking a bit on Chainsaw Man's side by the time they're getting into fight, because it's mostly stomp, stomp, stomp. So
Well, if you're talking about technicality, it sounds like you should be watching God of High School. Sounds like that should be right up your alley.
oh god, that one is so it is
It's
no
all
emotional stakes
technicality.
whatsoever. No power-ups, just people fighting for fight.
Did you say no power-ups? Dude, they start turning
No,
into
no,
kaiju.
I know. What I mean to say is there's no build up to the power-ups. It's literally there's a discussion of a training arc, and then he pokes himself a couple times, and then he becomes strong enough to handle the next strongest opponent. That we're not talking about that. That show is so there's a reason
uh,
that show hasn't had a season 2 yet.
Love that show. But anyway, to finish my review, I mean, Chainsaw Man possibly is my favorite manga of all time, and I mean, I would really have to think about it.
Mhm.
I'm not too sure, but I mean, it's my favorite manga of all time, and this is the first arc that, again, as I said earlier, really shows what Chainsaw Man can offer. Because season one, I don't think really does that. It's fun, it's
Mhm.
good,
Yeah.
but this is when the story picks up. You start becoming a lot more engaged, and this movie does that in spades. I love that they made this into a movie. It was paced super well. I love the runtime that it was. I couldn't believe how quick it seemed to be, but it still
I
was like
can't
an hour and
believe
a
it took
half.
less than 3.5 hours. So
God, so still upset about that. Um,
Infinity Castle,
I
give me my money
I
back.
I think I'm maybe like again, I need to rewatch it, but I think I'm gonna go 9.5.
Yeah.
I know that's high, but I mean, I my first figure. I mean, I got a huge Chainsaw Man figure. I got I got this box set behind me. I mean,
There's a
I
very fair
love
bias
this.
for you on this one, and I wouldn't fault you for that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, again, if would you fault me for rating Jurassic Park a 10, knowing how big of a shill I am for that thing? I'm
No,
gonna convince
no, not at all.
everybody, I'm gonna convince everyone the last Jurassic World movie that came out was actually pretty good. Not just
I
good for
know.
fans, like, it was genuinely
But
pretty good.
the thing that sucks, I mean, and if Big Chris is still watching this, he knows that like these are very subjective scales. I would never say
Oh,
that
yeah.
this is objectively a 9.5 movie because it's
No,
not.
man.
There's like even alone the barrier to entry is you need to watch season one, which a good
Right.
movie does not require that.
Yeah,
So,
and
but
and
just
this
for
movie
me,
definitely
I've been in it.
requires a season 1 watch. You can't just hop in, right?
Yeah, yeah, not at all. So 9.5 for me. I mean, it's the best anime movie I've seen. I even put it above stuff like Your Name or any Satoshi Kon, any
Ooh,
the Your Name director. I forgot his name,
I don't know if
and
I'd
I
go
just
all
loved it.
I don't know
I
if I'd go
would.
all the way there for that. 'Cause,
Now, if we're going get now, well, if I mean if we're going Ghibli, I mean that's tough. I
yeah.
mean, I would maybe put Mononoke and Kiki's in contest with that for my
Yeah,
personal.
I
Spirited
think
Away is overrated.
I'm not true.
I know I'm getting a spite score now.
Yeah, you are. You know, it was gonna be like 12 out of 10, but now it's gotta be like a 2. No, I think this movie is a really great 8. And here's
I
what I'll
think
say
that's a
about it.
great spot.
Yeah, I think, like, objectively and subjectively, my score lands in the same
Hmm.
place, so I'm at peace with that because
Yep.
the movie is 2 very notably different tones and with a big split between action and slice of life, and what I'll say is I love the slice of life part. The best part about this arc is me falling for Rez in the same way that, like, everybody falls for her, and I'm like, "That's great." And then to have this emotional turmoil on the fight, it's not as an emotional of a fight. Like in some ways, it kind of is, but in some ways, we should almost want her to win because she's just our girl. But then we don't want our Denji, our main guy to die. That feels bad. I would say that there. I guess if my only failings are a little bit of pacing on it being too heavy-handed in action at times, with not enough moments of breathing, at least for my taste, and that the emotional stakes mostly disappear for me on the fight itself. Not to say that it can't is it's not there, not and I think this is gonna be where the subjective experience really hits on this one. People watching this might really feel a ways about watching these 2 characters fight in general because we just had this whole love story fall out in front of us and we want them to kind of run away together. Like low key, that's the real ending of this series right here. Like, option A is what we're in right now. Option B, they just run away together and then it's them fighting everybody. I'm like, honestly, if you give me that whole manga, I probably really like that manga too. So there's some ways that it really hurts. And then the ending does a great job making it hurt too. When Reze kind of goes down again, it's just like, oh, fuck, this hurts, man. Like,
When you finally see that she actually does care about
yeah,
Denji, like she had a mission, but at the same time, like she actually fell for him
didn't
and was
matter,
gonna make a change. But then it's kind of like Attack on Titan. Slight spoiler here. It's kind of like the female Titan with Annie. It's like
Yeah,
she's cute and you think she's kind of made a change, but you saw her blow up an entire city. You saw the
man.
female Titan spin people on her blades in
Right.
delight, just killing them.
I
So
will I will say a little bit more in contrast though. I don't think that I think Bomb Devil is as has explodes as much as Bomb Devil does because that's the literal nature of themselves, right? Where like I think of she actually Bomb Devil mentioned several times. I'm trying to keep this a little bit more smaller scale, and
she said that a lot.
yeah, and I think that implies kind of a bigger picture here, saying like I would rather not blow up this whole city. I fucking will, but and I'll do it again too. But I prefer not to. So I think that extra gravity and depth gives me a lot of perspective, and I don't know. I think they knocked that out of the park with getting Reze right, getting the slice of life part right. The fights are really really cool. I only have a couple of notes. It's not a perfect fight or things like that, but this is a solid movie all the way across with it. My time definitely did not feel wasted. I'd probably watch it again. I don't know if I'd watch it again right away, and I don't know if I'd watch it again After the second time, if I watched it again, like here in a couple months, I probably wouldn't be racing to watch it a third time. Maybe this is like every couple of years, if I threw it on in the background, I'd be like, "Fuck, this is a good movie." Like I put it right around that tier with it. But I think a solid 8 is right where it is. If most really good animated films are, back to our classic rule of the podcast, most animated films start at 7. They're all reasonably typically pretty good. This is punching at least a level above like typical animation on that front for me. So, yeah.
Well, to slightly like cap it, do you like? I mean, this is what everybody on Reddit was asking. Do you like this new turning arcs into movies rather than a show?
Yes and no. Here's what I would say. I would say
cop out.
Here's what I'll say. Here's what I say I like about it. Here's what I say I really don't like about it. And I think the really don't like is heavier than my likes for it. What I do like is that it gives us a condensed, usually 2-ish, sometimes 3 if you're Chainsaw, or if you're Infinity Castle. It's 240, but it feels like 320. Anyways, sometimes it gets us a little bit more condensed, a little bit more focused content in a season than it would just be as a seasonal arc. Which in some ways is great. I think it gives it more time to shine. I think it puts more eyeballs onto it, and it gives you a theatrical experience. And this is one of those movies that I'm like, fuck yeah, dude, this is a theatrical experience arc. So I think those strengths are really cool. What I really don't like about it, though, is that I think it makes it harder for other people to follow in. If you're not on top of this and you're watching the show, by the time you're watching the show again, where's season 2? You're like, what the fuck is going on? And it starts creating within Demon Slayer's case in point of this. What they start doing is this really stupid thing with the animes that when they come back to the season, they realize they got to cover all the material again. And then they just give you the same thing, but in episode form now. And maybe sometimes they add a little bit of stuff, but that little bit of stuff has never felt better. The movie really feels like exactly all you need from it. And then if they ever turn it back into like the part 2 of a season, for instance, it makes that season part feel way worse. They add some extra bloat to make the runtimes make sense for the episode.
Yeah.
And in my opinion, it starts to ruin the show for the cost of a movie. And I'm just like, homies, it's not for me. Now, icing on the cake. Maybe the theatrical releases of these little tiny arcs means that Mappa people start actually getting paid more and they actually don't have to start killing animators every other 50 minutes. And maybe that's like the end game here, right? And if you said, listen, Dylan, you're going to have to suffer through a couple of shitty episodes when the new season starts of the same shit you already watched, but slightly worse, actually. But now these animators get the pace it better. And I'm like, cool, totally fine. Don't keep killing animators. Also, I really need these seasons not to come out 6 years apart. And I know I'm part of the problem in that issue too, because I don't know, man. That's the give and take of it. But yeah, I think that the cons outweigh my pros in this reason. So more often than I would say it's not my favorite, but that being said, I think that there is some really cool goods to it.
Yeah. I think you make a lot of good points. I would just reiterate from my own perspective that I think that for the most part, I would say no. I would much rather have a show because I think pacing is the most important thing when it comes to anime. And I think Infinity Castle Part 1 and the Reze arc are prime examples of the opposite ends of the spectrum. Because manga is made to be consumed weekly. Each chapter is picking up from where the cliffhanger from the week before happened. It gives a middle chunk that's like usually like just giving you some more content or whatever it is, and then the last bit is getting you booked for next week. And man, Infinity Castle just felt like start, stop, start, stop, start, stop. It did not feel cohesive. Like there's going to be, just like with Mugen Train, there's going to be a future where Infinity Castle is going to be paced and chopped up into a show. It is.
Yeah.
You're going to go to Crunchyroll 10 years from now. You're going to see Infinity Castle, the entire arc, and it's going to be episodic. And that's how you should consume it.
And
it
honestly,
should not be done
way better for it. Yeah.
Yeah, because you get to take a break, you get to digest, and maybe some fat will be taken off. I doubt it because they poured all those resources into it. But at the same time, you know how big of an animation whore I am. And where you get the best animation is in film. So it's hard.
Yeah, it is harder because I think some of these things get to go way harder in the paint because they're this, but you know what? This is me being an old head anime guy. It just makes me long at a time. I'm thinking I never thought that whenever I saw fights go to these scales and things and regular series as before, a classic thing I'll point out. Like whenever I was whenever I first started watching Naruto, right? When that first drops and here in the States, and then I was like, oh shit, I need to eat this shit up, right? And I think I like when there was a site called Anime Arigato that you could buy like these super dirt cheap like anime DVDs from. And I bought like the whole series of Naruto up until that point. And it was a Japanese English sub once, and that really pushed me on to being on Japanese audio and English sub. That was like actually my really biggest intro to anime for that one for
Oh yeah,
me.
we
But
watched this subbed, by the way.
yeah, we watched this sub for the record. And when we see Rock Lee fight Gaara, which is a classic, like even people who don't watch Naruto and don't like it, it's like fuck, that shit's cool.
Yeah,
like typically
me.
we've heard correct. I know who my audience is there for that comment. But I remember thinking like I didn't feel like when I watched that for the first time that lacked scale, that lacked substance, it lacked a sense of animation or style. And as I get older, I've seen more and I see where these styles and the CG animatics and all that stuff gets to now. And sure, now there's a higher threshold, but I still go back and think that Rock Lee and Gar fight's fucking sick. I still think, all these other things. I still watch Hunter x Hunter pretty. Like, I will go back and rewatch Hunter x Hunter. That's one of those animes I find myself having like an every other year rewatch. And maybe not all the way through, but definitely chunks of arcs. Those fights still hit for me. These things still land for me. So I think that, is there more? Do we get more out of movies? Yes, but is it needed? And I'm like, no, I don't think it is. And if it kills it for pacing's sake, I think that's worse. Because to your point, I remember reading. I'm still reading through Chainsaw Man and all these other arcs, other major popular ones that are going on. And like, I don't know, man. I'll tell you right now, Chainsaw Man. I'm like, sometimes, at least on this side of where we're at now with it, I'm like, I don't know. You can make a movie and wrap this shit up whenever you're ready, guys. Like, there's ebbs and flows of it, but there are definitely other ones where I'm like, no, if the pacing of this makes so much more sense for it to be the case. My fear is that the next couple of, I don't even think we get a Chainsaw Man season 2. I think we could get 2 more Chainsaw Man movies and that'd almost be it. 2 or 3. We could get 2 or 3 movies and they would just cover it up. And honestly, I would hate that because I think that there's this next arc I think really needs like a good 12, 14 episodes. I think the pacing gives people more spotlights. The next arc introduces a lot of characters.
I was gonna say that. I was gonna say that exact same thing. There's so many people. I mean, Santa's in it.
Fucking Santa Claus is in it. Yeah.
And Halloween.
Yeah.
Halloween's in it.
Dude, Halloween's so peak. Yeah, the whole squad. I can't wait to see that part animated.
Oh my god. Yeah. The intro especially.
Yeah. So anyways, no, in general, I would go back to saying, man, just put me back in the let me just watch my show again and put it at a reasonable pace. And if you can't, kill an animator. I don't know. That's like, no. Mappa, maybe you don't need to be the studio for every fucking place, man. I don't know. Once upon a time, that wasn't the case, but this is, we're seeing Japan monopolies pop up. We hear about it a lot in America, but Mappa is like one studio, and now One Punch Man is starving over here, so.
Oh my god, I could talk for hours about that. That's another one that's in contest for my favorite manga. I mean, I've been reading that for years.
No, both of those are ones I've seen you read on planes. Can confirm.
Oh my god, it's so good.
Sometimes planes that are almost gonna crash.
It's so good. I mean, the art, Yusuke Murata is.
I will say one. Yeah, Murata be cooking as an artist. Like where I'll say I'm like, of the modern bunch of artists right now, I don't think that there are many who are doing it on a more detailed and technical level. Like style aside, like the detailed technicals of like the fight animate choreography in these fights are typically really solid, and it just looks so crisp.
He can put 30 more Fubuki bikini prints on the cover.
Man knows how to draw a woman too. Yeah, 100%. I will say though, nobody in the anime industry other than like, now I'm blanking on his name. Hunter x Hunter's author gets as much leeway.
I should know. Oh yeah, to do whatever the hell they want.
Because motherfucker will put a chapter out and then say, "Never mind, I don't like it," and then he'll he'll go back 20 chapters and say, "I'm redoing all of this," and I'm like, "What the fuck did you just say? What do you mean? I just read a year's worth of chapters that you're gonna redo slightly different." Like, what? What the fuck do you mean? Who allowed this? I thought we were killing them when they did this.
I don't know. I don't know what they're thinking.
I'm very curious what his deal had to be for him to have that kind of future, that kind of autonomy. Like,
It has to be
it
insane.
astounds me.
Has a
It's
good
insane.
agent if they have those there.
Bro, yeah, he's the new, he is him now, right? Like, he is Sukuna of the manga artist. Nobody is more powerful than him for that one reason.
All right, I think we're at the tail end. I think we should cut this so we can quickly go into a griping session.
Oh yeah, we'll hit Ghost of Yote really quickly. That's a quick beat for it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's good. I think it's good.
No, I was gonna cut this. This is gonna be a different one.
Oh yeah, you're gonna have those two separate things?
Yeah.
Okay, I was just gonna hit Ghost of Yote in like 5 minutes as a little chuck in just for the game.
That was Reze Arc. Like, comment, and subscribe.
Like, comment, subscribe.
We love you, Tall Chris.
Thanks, Tall Chris. Talk to you soon, buddy.